Well, howdy doody. It's sure good to be back here with you guys. I tell you what, I look back on life, all these stories I got, and I'm sharing with you, and I'm glad you're interested in that and like to hear them, and I sure hope that you love to hear the parables explained of Brother Jerry. Today I got a story about when Batman was just a little bat. I mean a little fella. I guess I might have been, I don't know, 8 or 9 years old. And the story's about me and my cousin. He was, well, he actually, he called Marty his name, but he was Robin. And y'all didn't know that Robin was a Batman's cousin, but he is Bubba Batman's cousin. But we were raised up more like brothers than cousins. Did everything together, played together. His mama worked, and my mama that you saw in a previous video, she took care of both of us, and we'd play down there at the old house and had a big old time. And thing about it is, I was about 2.5 years older than Marty, than Robin, and I was a whole lot bigger than he was. Now I got some pictures that are popping up show you us when we was kids, and you can see I was a good bit bigger than him. But you can also see that in those stories that he was always my sidekick, because I was older and smarter and bigger. I made him do pretty well what I wanted him to do. When we played, Batman and Robin, I was always Batman and he was Robin, of course. If we ever took off our Batman gear and decided to play another superhero, if I was the Green Hornet, he was Kato. If I was the Lone Ranger, he was Tonto. And then I think you get the point. But anyway, he got real tired of that. And he went and talked to my grandma about it, or maybe she just noticed it too. But one day my grandma told me, and he called her Aunt Berthy. But Mama told the two of us one day when he come over to play, for us to play together, she said, "Now listen, you're not going to treat Marty like that. You always make him do what you going to do, and you kind of bully over him." And said, "Today, we're going to do what Marty wants to do. And you ain't going to have your way," and just forced him into that, and said, "If you don't play right, I'll give you a whooping." And my grandma meant what she said. Now, she raised me from the time I was 5 months old, like I said in another video, but she was my mama. And when she said she'd go whoop me, she didn't bluff nothing. She meant it. I get a whooping if I didn't do exactly what she said. She'd throw down on it. But anyway, well, we was out there playing, and I kind of I've always been pretty much felt like I had to lead things, and then had to have my way, and it was really just tearing me up that I was going to have to do what he wanted to do. So I decided I was going to try to manipulate him. Even at 8 years old, I knew how to what it was to manipulate, or at least I thought it did. And I come up with this plan. I forget what it was I was wanting to play, but or what he was wanting to play, but it wasn't the same thing. And I told him, I said, "Look, let's say play Army today." He said, "No, I don't want to play Army." And I said, "Well, I think we need to play Army. It'll be a lot of fun." And he said, "No, I want to play Cowboys." And I said, "I don't want to play Cowboys, but I think we really do need to play Army. And we'll play Cowboys another time, but not today." Well, we argued around there a little while, and he was stubborn little old self, and he was always just skinny little weaselly thing, and I could get my way with him. But today, he had the goods on me. So I decided I'd manipulate him into doing what I wanted to do. So I looked at him and I said, "You'd feel real bad if something bad was to happen to me." He said, No, I don't care. I don't care if nothing bad happens to you. I said, "Yeah, you would. You'd feel awful if something bad was happening to me." He said, "No." I said, "Well, what if I was to die? What if I was to be killed or something? You'd feel awful about it." He said, "No, I don't care." Well, it just flew all over me. And I looked around, I looked up there on the edge of the yard, and there was a rope. And there's an old swing set right there on the edge of the yard. And I went and I got that rope, and I tied a noose out of one end of it, and I threw it over the top of the top bar of that swing set, took the other end over to the side, and then that bar is in the middle right there, I tied it to it, and I got up on a chair, and I made it just right length enough where it fit around my neck, and I got on that chair, stood up on that chair, and I put that noose around my neck, and I looked at him square in the eyes, and I said, "Are you going to play what I want to play, or am I going to have to jump?" You know what that little scoundrel done? He looked square up at me, touching his head like this, and he said, "Go ahead and jump. I don't care." Well, my pride took over, and my stubbornness, and I am Batman, you know. And I really didn't think the rest of it through too good, obviously. But I bailed off that chair. And when I did, oh my goodness, the rope caught, but I was so, as you could see in them pictures, I was so fat and heavy. And that old swing set was so rickety and old and no good that when it caught, it snatched that middle bar out, just tore it off. And what's so bad about this is when I jumped, at the very millisecond when I jumped, my poor grandma looked out the window and saw me jump, and she freaked out. She come running across that yard screaming bloody murder. Screamed she thought I had done killed myself. She grabbed me when I hit the ground, took that rope off of me, and she whipped me and beat me with that rope all over that yard, wore my tail out with it. And my cousin over there just, he thought that was the funniest thing he ever seen. He always did want to grow up, and you can see it in other pictures. And I put one up now of 50 years. Of when I was 9, he was 7. We had that picture on one side when we was young. And I was much bigger than him. He always wanted to grow up to be big enough to make me do what he wanted to do. Well, he got big enough. He's bigger than I am now. But I still do what I want to do. But anyway, he got the goods on me that day. Robin won out over Batman. And Batman liked to really, really messed up. But anyway, that's my story. Now, Brother Jerry's going to come out here and tell you a parable about it, so I'm going to go get him. I'll be right back. Hello, everybody. Well, that Bubba Batman, he started out mighty young, getting himself in a mess all the time, and kind of obvious, that whooping his grandma gave him, he needed that stunt he pulled, and a lot of other stunts he did through the years, but he turned out pretty good anyway. Well, good, he ain't real pretty. But anyway, you know, I listened to that story. There's a bunch of lessons from that parable that you can be taught. Jesus parables, a lot of times you could teach multiple lessons from. Usually they had one point trying to get across. But I will mention a couple of them. Philippians 2, 1 through 5, the Apostle Paul said that we should never do anything through selfish ambition or vain conceit. But in humility, we should value others above ourselves and should be more concerned about their interests than our own. It's just obvious that Bubba Batman was pretty selfish that day, and he was more interested in getting his way than submitting and being humble toward Robin, his cousin Marty. But Obadiah verse 3 also says that the pride of your heart has deceived you. And Bubba Batman's pride fooled him bad that day, and it nearly cost him his life. His pride caused him to go ahead and jump before he really thought the situation through, and his selfishness and stubbornness. But those two things, although they are lessons, were not the main thing. The main thing in this story that stands out to me is the fact that Bubba Batman tried to use what love he perceived in his cousin, Robin, to manipulate him into getting him to do what he wanted him to do. And I know Bubba Batman loved his cousin Marty, or Robin, but the way he tried to manipulate that love was just wrong. The Bible teaches us, and Jesus' own words in John 14 and verse 23, he said, if you love me, you'll keep my commandments. 1 John 4:19 says, we love him because he first loved us. In Romans 5 and verse 8, Apostle Paul tells us that while we were still God's enemies, he demonstrated his love toward us, and that Christ died for us. And he didn't hang on that cross with his hands nailed to it and his feet nailed to it, thorns on his head, with people walking there mocking him and ridiculing him and telling him if he's the Son of God to come down from there. He wasn't hanging up there thinking or saying under his breath, one of these days they're going to think back on this and they're going to feel so guilty, so ashamed of themselves, that's going to compel them to do what I want them to do and to live the way I want them to live. No, that wasn't what Jesus was thinking. He hung there on that cross and died for us when we were his enemies, when we could care less. Just like Cousin Marty said, go ahead, I don't care. Well, when he hung on that cross, we didn't care. But he died anyway. And he died because his love for us was pure, unselfish, unadulterated, unconditional love. I want to read to you the description of love the Apostle Paul gives us in 1 Corinthians 13, beginning in verse 4, and see if there's anything selfish or conceited about this. He said, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. So, as we consider this parable from Bubba Batman, let's remember the love of God and how genuine and pure it is for every one of us. That if you were the only human being alive on earth, the Son of God would have still died that horrible death for you because he wants you to be saved. That's the love of God. It's not a guilt trip. It's not a manipulation. It's genuine love. And if that doesn't cause you to want to live for him, nothing else will. Paul said in the Roman letter, don't you know that it's the goodness of God that leads you to repentance? Well, I hope that all of you have a wonderful day. On behalf of Bubba Batman, this is Brother Jerry. And we look forward to seeing you again. I encourage you to subscribe, to like us, hit the like button, make any comments you'd like, and just want you to know that God loves you genuinely, and I love you. I don't know you, but I love you because you're a child of God made in his image. And I wish all of you a very blessed day. Until next time, this is Brother Jerry, along with Bubba Batman. Good day. God bless you.